the 5th of November 2023, Hyundai HY70 DKH space heater. I have a 2-year-old, 2 years. Here's the front of it here. Seen better days, used an awful lot. Here is the setting. You set this here for the temperature you want. It comes on and off, and here is the main switch. We'll throw the switch here now. I have it connected here with a power source through the window, and this is to measure. So you hear the noise it makes. It has essentially a motor, a single-phase motor, and an air blower compressor there, and it creates like a whistle. It blows air across the jet, and it sucks up the fuel from the tank, and they work really well. The big thing to remember is an awful lot of paraffin and diesel and kerosene has dirt in it. It has dirt, and this one here, you can take out the filter, and there's dirt in there, and you need to take it out regularly and wash it with petrol, and wash it really well. Don't wash it with water, and let it dry. Shake it well and put it back in, and then fill it up. There is a lot of dirt. Anyone that's a diesel mechanic will tell you the amount of dirt in tractors and all that is unbelievable. You just couldn't filter it enough. Now, I hope to make a yoke or a thing with a stand and a 2-kilo drum that will a filter on it that will slowly filter fuel into the tank through the filter. In other words, you'll be able to leave it and it'll be dripping away there when you're doing something else. The problem with that is it could overflow, and you don't want that. Now, the thing is that it says that there are 5 amps, there are 230 volts and 5 amps, right? So if you multiply the amps by the volts, you find that it's 1.1 kilowatt. So it uses a bit more than an electric cooker. It uses a bit more than 1 ring on an electric cooker. But you must remember, if the place is anywhere well closed, this will heat up the room, and you can let it turn off, and you will have heat. Now, these have been tried in domestic houses, and I do not know what the insurance position is. I would suggest that if every Tom, Dick and Harry got going with these inside in the house, you could have issues with fire hazards. There should be a fire extinguisher, and I'm not recommending them for use inside in the ordinary house. But for a garage, for a workshop, or for even anywhere you have a little bit, even with poor insulation, I mean, it'll cost a bit of money, but if you're too cold, you won't be able to stay in there. So there's no such thing as cheap heat. So you're paying for the fuel, and you're paying for the electricity to run it, and they won't run without electricity, but they'll run perfectly off a 2-kilowatt generator. I have done it. And one year I had frost in the pipes for the cattle shed, and I used this in my hand to heat up the pipes and let the water flow again outdoors. So they're quite resilient. They're a good big tank. I think it's 19 litres. The wire going into them, you need to change that every year by right. You open them up here, they're not too hard, and you just reinstall a fresh wire. Get good quality power tool wire from your proper, like around here you have Monaghan Electric, and you have all those. Get good quality wire that's for the job. Don't be putting in wire that cracks easily, but because it gets wound up a lot, you're going to have that problem. So by right, they'd want to be fixed every year with a new wire. That's all they need. You keep your filter washed and clean, and you do not be better if you could filter your fuel with a separate filter from one barrel into another before you put it in at all. It would be great. I cannot emphasize that enough. I had another one, a red one, and it was easier getting the fuel in, and what was happening was it was letting in the dirt, and before long it blocked, and I fixed it once. The second time I could not fix it, I had to throw it out. I believe they're all made in China in the same factory. The only difference I can see in them is that this one has worked very well for me. This Hyundai has worked very well for me, and I've got my money out of it. I gave €285 for it over 2 years ago. The only thing is the filter in this is smaller, and you might say, to hell with that, I want to be hurrying up. No, you need to take it clean and give it time to get in. Now the point is, can you use these inside? Well, if you go to fuel these inside, you'll have fuel dropping on your carpet or your lino or your tiles. I don't like the idea of fueling them inside. I'm not recommending they be used in domestic houses. I can tell you, if any such as that has gone on, you should fuel them outside. In my workshops, and I have 2 of them, I can fuel them inside. If a wee drop of fuel spills, I don't particularly mind, and you have a good rag round to wipe them clean. Okay, now remember about the fuel usage and the electricity usage. If the thing is anyway well closed up, when you get it up a bit of temperature, you can switch it off, and it'll switch off itself if you set the thermometer. When you get that done, it brings up the heat. You're in the morning time, you're freezing, and you put it on, it gets you out of that initial cold when you jump out of the bed on a January or a winter's morning. I have used it inside in the old farmhouse, where I occasionally have to stay. I have used it where I occasionally stay, and there's a coal fire arranged in that old house, and I have sometimes in the cold weather I put on a good fire of coal and sticks and briquettes if you can get them now, and what happens is that I find that it's impossible in calm weather to stop the soot coming out, and I find in the morning time when I cough up, I find little bits of soot in my spittle. I find little bits of black soot in my spittle. It's not that good for you, and on the other hand, it's been happening to me before I got the space heater, and I'm still here. So like that, I'm a hardy breed, it would appear. So what I can say is, when I use this inside in the house, when I use this inside in the old farmhouse with poor insulation and rattly windows and all of that, I have none of that. I am convinced there's no particulates from this worth talking about. If they're definitely not black, I don't know, is there other ones, but they're certainly not black. If you put your nose to an exhaust of a diesel car, especially the older ones, you'll find a sort of a smell, and a smell of particulates and nitrous oxide and all that. There's absolutely no odor from these at all. Absolutely none that I can find. It's amazing. I can't understand how they're able to make these combust so completely. That's all I can say to you. I hate maybe being the cause of someone's house going on fire. They must never be left unattended. And the problem is, you could leave it on and it goes off, and you go out and you forget about it. By right, it would need to be left on a stand. Now that's on 2 trestles there. It would need to be left on a stand, or a purpose-made carrier, not made of wood, better off made of iron. Just a simple stand. If it's brought up maybe 2 foot, it's a lot better. If it's down on the ground, it's not as good, but it will work on the floor as well. So I can't say any more. From my opinion, especially when I'm over at the farm and trying to get cows milked and everything else, and you're lorrying in a lot of meal and goods and fuel and everything into your farm enterprise or your workshop enterprise. I mean, you have to have a little energy there. If you have a forge in it, it's going to use energy. All told, if you keep the door shut and have this will let you get work done, particularly in my workshop where I have my lathe and I do my welding and my brazing and all of those great hobbies. This has allowed me to do stuff and get stuff done that I couldn't possibly stick the cold. Years ago in the month of December and January, I couldn't stick the cold. You'd have to go in and you'd be running in and out to the fire to try and get warm. All central heating uses some type of fuel. There's ones of these on cylinders of gas. I don't know what they're like, and I can't tell you what they're like inside in a flat or something like that. I don't know what any open flame fire, they're not recommended in any place because of carbon monoxide rules. Now, that's what I say, I wouldn't recommend this in a small apartment because of that, because I simply don't know the situation. But I use it in my old house, and the central heating there, but it's not that good, and sometimes you have to fill it up, and sometimes there's water problems and all that. I just put it down in the kitchen and bring it out to the hall and let it blow around the stairs a bit and get a bit of heat up, and then it's grand, and you turn it off. That's all I can say about it. That's what I can say about it. You'll hear all kinds of rumours. These are on sale at about 320 euros at the moment. I gave 285 for this, and you know what? It was worth every penny. It was worth every penny of this. And the next thing will be to get the wire changed again. You see the wire going there. Get a new wire in, get good quality wire, get the filter cleaned, and hopefully I'll be able to make a video for you at some stage where I have a way of putting the fuel into it through a secondary filter. In other words, one or two filters. You buy them in any shop, one or two filters, let your fuel through it. You can throw them out after a few weeks or a month, and that's the dirt gone, and then you should have no problem. The Hyundai has worked well, and if I ever have to buy another one, this will be the one I go. And needless to say, I'm making nothing out of this. I get nothing. My job and my channel is to make life better for those who take the trouble to tune in and see what I'm going to say. Thank you very much. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. She's well worn. She's a good old yoke, good old thing, and full marks to Hyundai and the Chinese people that make it and supply it. Bye.